I promise you guys, this is the last 100 build until Ash Iron. The last 100 build, okay? I know I've been throwing a lot of craziness at you guys with builds, but this is the last one. It is a glass cannon build for the pro players, but I promise you, once you get the hang of it, very deadly build as y'all seen with the beginning footage, okay? Now, this build is intricate a little bit, so I gotta take out step by step on what's going on here. First off, the key weapon for this build is return memory. In order to get this weapon, you have to play Crucible. I know some of you guys hate that, but literally, Crucible rains loot like crazy. It's better than freaking PvE right now, the amount of loot that PvP is raining. But you get this from just playing regular Crucible. You don't have to play competitive anything, just regular Crucible. And it's a rocket solar sidearm, and it's better than Aberrant Actions, whatever, solar rocket sidearm. This is the better one. Reason being, because it's a new weapon, you can run Temporal Blast on it, and it's getting an extra 10% from being a new weapon, right, this season. But it gets Temporal Blast. Temporal Blast is like the most broken mod this season because of the charge damage it does when you get 5 stacks with it. But Temporal Blast also get buffed up by weapon buffs and stuff. So if you got something like Radiant on something, it get buffed up. But also, if you have a weapon perk on the weapon, it buffs up the damage of Temporal Blast. So right now, Redirection has a very strong buff towards Temporal Blast, to the point that it's one-shotting subjugators and doing heck of damage to bosses and whatnot. It's actually nuts. It's kind of insane. So I was like, okay, since I know Redirection is doing insane damage right now with Temporal Blast, what weapon in the game can hunters utilize to do a dumb build and destroy everything? And then Return Memory has its exotic friend that y'all probably forgot about. Mechanier's Trick Sleeve. Mechanier's Trick Sleeve is a forgotten exotic for hunters, but it's a glass cannon build. It increases sidearm airborne effectiveness, reload speed, and ready speed. But we're here for the second part. While you're critically wounded, swapping to a sidearm reloads it and increases its damage. And I'll put the damn buff on the screen. While this effect is active, sidearm final blows reload the weapon and extend the duration of the perk. And I'll throw the duration on the screen as well. So that's what we're gonna be, the exotic we're gonna be running with Return Memory to buff up the damage of Temporal Blast even more, making it a force to be reckoned with. And since this is a special weapon, we can run whatever other weapons we want in the build. So we're running Final Warning in this build to spread Unraveling around in the area with the Artifact Recolorized Darkness for the extra 30% damage for solar weapons. So Return Memory can do even more. But also too, Final Warning is just a very strong sidearm, and it works with the exotic arm piece as well. So you can, you know, dabble in both of them for damage, you know, to destroy everything in the room. And then your heavy can be whatever you want, right? Now, let me walk you through what was my thought process with this build. I wanted Temporal Blast to proc as much as possible. And in order to do that, you have to increase your DPS on that weapon. Temporal Blast is not based off of how many bullet shots you do. It's based on how much damage you're doing. So the more damage you do, the more charges you get for Temporal Blast. So on its own, Return Memory, on its own, there's the name, right? Return Memory, yep. On its own, it takes, golly, my stick drift. I'm sorry, guys. On its own, when you shoot, you get 1 charge. You shoot again, 3 charges. And you shoot again, max charges. And then you got to shoot 1 more time for the explosion to happen. So in total, you got to get 4 shots in to get Temporal Blast to proc. I said that's too many bullets for that to proc. So then I was like, okay, what can I do to increase my damage to make it that it procs even quicker? So of course, the first thing I thought about was Solar Surges in my leg piece. So I was like, okay, let me get some orbs and see how much do that change, move the needle for the Temporal Blast on the gun. So I went over here, picked up charges. All right, picked charges up. So then I started shooting with it. I was like, okay, Solar Surge. Oh my god. Now it's 2 charges, right? 4 charges, 3 charges, 4. So now the first shot is actually giving me 2 charges instead of just 1. So I was like, okay, it's increasing. What can we do to lessen the bullets? We need some more damage here. So then I was like, okay, how about shout out to whoever just subscribed. You're in the video. So then I was like, okay, let's get Radiant. Let's get Radiant, right? To buff up the damage some more. So now when I shoot with it, with armor charges, 1 shot gave me 2. And then 2 shots gave me a full charge now. And then 3rd shot is giving me the explosion now. So now with Radiant and 2 weapon surges, I was able to cut the gap of 4 bullets to get temporal charges to 3. Then I was like, okay, what else can I increase the damage of this? We made our weapon stat go up. Then I was like, okay, it still didn't change the charges amount. So I was like, okay, what else can I do? Then I was like, oh yeah, return memory got tenacity on it. Tenacity make it that you get stacks when you get kills with this weapon as long as you're 15 meters near the enemy, and you keep them stacks until you don't die, okay? So then I was like, okay, let me see what's the difference if I get tenacity on. So I went and got 20 stacks tenacity by killing Scions. I'll be right back to show you guys. Alright, so now I have tenacity times 20. We're gonna get Radiant real quick. Okay. So now when I shoot the weapon with tenacity on, if I shoot once, I get 3 charges now. Shoot again, max charge, and then maxed out. That's with solar charges on, tenacity on, and radiant on. So then I was like, okay, so I am moving the needle, but I need the needle to get moved even more. So then I was like, okay, what else could I do to add even more damage to this? So then at first I was playing around with smoke to do the 15% weakening on the bolts and stuff and tether, and I was like, that worked, but it's not convenient enough. So then I was like, oh, redirection gives me more damage. So then let me show you guys the charges I get with redirection. So with redirection on the gun, this is what the results was. Get our radiant and we shoot. And now I was getting temporal blast every 2 shots. 1 shot gave it to me, the 2nd shot procs it. So I was like, okay, we doing some good damage now. Then I was like, but what can I do to make this even more consistent where I don't need the buffs of everything being aligned for me when it comes to armor charges and radiant on and you know, having that redirection stacks, right? So then I was like, oh, the hunter exotic. If I go over here and weaken myself to activate the exotic perk, swap to the gun and shoot, I get it every 2 shots now. So that's what created the build today for you guys. So now we are getting temporal charge ready every 2 shots. 1 shot to get it, and then the 2nd shot to proc it. And then we got redirection on while we have temporal blast going. Redirection stacks with temporal blast, buffing up temporal blast even more damage. And then if I have Trixley's perk proc, it does even more damage. And that's how you got the damage number at the beginning against Carl. And that's also why you see me able to just run through the subjugators, 1-shotting them or 2-tapping them with this hand cannon on its own. So that's where we got this build today that I want to show you guys, and y'all can have a ball. I love heal clip on this weapon, but I'll be honest with you guys, there's 2 other perks that you can put in this slot that'll probably work out better, because Trixley's reload the hand cannon for you, and it does not trigger heal clip because you got to do a manual reload. So because of that, heal clip doesn't really proc in this build when you're killing everything in 1 shot with this. So I would say either go with Blast Distributor in this build to get that plus 65 grenade stat, or go with Impromptu Ammunition to make it even easier for you to always keep ammo for return memory, to just always have this in your hand as your primary. Those 2 options I would say. Heal clip, you can keep it if you just want to be able to still use the weapon even if Trick Sleeve not active, but the whole point of the build is try to keep Trick Sleeve active as long as possible. We're rocking Final Warning to spread unraveling to every target, and like I said, Final Warning is just a strong weapon in general, so it can work with trick sleeves as well in this build. And then your heavy can be whatever you want. We're rocking trick sleeve, and the artifact. What you want to run in this build is Flame Fiber and Freeze. We will be rocking a Solar and Stasis in this build, so you might be get ores for Final Warning and Return Memory. Rocking Fever and Chill, so when you get them kills with Return Memory, you always have Radiant up non-stop for the extra damage. We got Reciprocal Draw on, so when you use your heavy, or if you decide you don't want to use Final Warning, you want to use a different primary weapon, if you get kills and then you go to a sidearm, that sidearm will be doing buffed up damage with Reciprocal Draw, so even more damage for your Return Memory. We got Elemental Coalescence, so I'm getting kills with Return Memory. I make Fire Sprites. This goes in tangent with Elemental Overdrive. When you pick up a Fire Sprite or any element to pick up, it gives that that weapon that matches that element to pick up 10% extra damage. So you can go with Elemental Overdrive in this build if you want to with Elemental Coalescence. We got on Cauterize Darkness on. Like I said, Final Warning will be spreading Darkness debuff, unraveling to every enemy in the room. And you can pull out the Return Memory, get that 30% extra damage, and kill the enemies in the room. We got Threaded Blast on. We will make entangles with Final Warning on. We can shoot them, make some big explosions. We got Tangled Web on. Like I said, if you don't want Tangled Web on, you can go Elemental Overdrive for the extra damage for Return Memory, but I don't think you need it. But we got Tangled Web on, so we make a tangle, suspend enemies in the air. They take more damage to Return Memory because they suspended by a Dark debuff. And then we got Radiant Shrapnel on, so we're going to be radiant all day. We might as well make them solar shrapnels hit enemies while they getting tick damage from like unraveling and stuff, right? From us being radiant. That's the artifact. By the way you want to do your gameplay loop with Mechanier Trick Sleeve and harder end content, don't force yourself to red health on purpose. Most of the time they gonna get you red health, and it'll just naturally be in your gameplay loop, so you don't have to worry about shout out the person that just subscribed. You're in the video. Don't force it on hard to end content. In the gameplay in the top right, that is -40. Gameplay -40 or -50, one of them. So most of the time they will get you hurt to red health, so you don't have to force it. In easier content, you can force it. You can make the enemies hit you and get you red health and then start going crazy. This does not work if you self-harm yourself. Trick Sleeve cannot prop from self-harming yourself or like a rocket anything. It has to be from the enemies hurting you or from you getting hurt by something that's in the environment. So like if you stand inside Vex Milk and it does take damage to you or something, that will activate Trick Sleeves. You know, standing by, get hit by a laser or something like that, that will activate Trick Sleeves for you as well. But your whole purpose in this gameplay loop will be purposely get hurt in red health. You personally get hurt in red health. Have your other weapon on, don't really matter. And then you'll see Trick Sleeve activated when you're in red health. You kill enemies, but when your health goes up, it's gonna say 5 seconds for Trick Sleeve. But every time you get a kill, you get the 5 seconds back, and it's an infinite loop. You just keep killing people and keep Trick Sleeve on non-stop. So once you get red health once, all you're playing is trying to get your next kill within 5 seconds to keep the perk going non-stop, which is very simple and easy to do. What I love about this build is you can use it on Prismatic, you can use it on Solar, you can use it on Void. You can use this in whatever build you want and it'll work. It's a neutral build. That's what I love about it. You can go Prismatic and rock like Restoration as your loop. You can rock it on Void for Devour, so every time you get a kill after you get a prop, every time you get a kill now, you're getting full health from Devour. Well, not full health, chunk of health, because they changed it. Warlocks get full health now, right? But you can rock it with Void and then Devour, so then after you get the loop going, every time you get killed, you get health back, since Heal Clip won't be giving it to you. And that'll be the gameplay loop on Void. Prismatic, just strong, pick up Orb, Restoration, Golden Gun on and stuff. You can rock it on other subclasses, so that's what I like. I think Prismatic and Void is probably the best subclasses to rock this on, and Solar, of course. Solar, you can get Restoration going, and then every time you get killed, Restoration stay on 24/7. And yeah, so that's what I love about this build. It can be used on anything. I think Void and Prismatic are probably the best versions of this build. Now, subclass. We're rocking Golden Gun in this build, so we can make some Fire Sprites from the artifact, and then we pick up Fire Sprite with Facet of Purpose on to get Restoration on non-stop in this build. We got on Gambler Dodge, get our Threaded Spike. Threaded Spike so it can bounce off enemies to sever them, make them do less damage, and put a Darkness debuff on them. So then the Return Memory doing more damage to anybody got a Darkness debuff on them because the artifact. Your grenade can be whatever you want it to be, doesn't matter. We got Ascension on and Threaded Spectre for survivability, give us Amplified, make enemies miss their shots, jolt the enemies, so deal with like Overload Champion, something like that. And then Threaded Spectre so that the enemy shoots the clone in the air. You can use Golden Gun, purposely put like 4-5 clones out there on purpose in a super. So very good to stand alive to get that loop going. But again, this build is very adaptive. It's mainly just based off of the artifact. The artifact and the exotic arm piece and the gun. So you can run whatever aspects you want to run, to be honest. You can run Gunpowder Gamble and run like Blast Distributor and Redirection on this gun. And then Gunpowder Gamble has 200 grenade stat in this build, doing insane damage. You can run Stylish Executioner or Grapple Melee. So you go invisible after getting the kill, grapple melee somebody with a max grenade stat. It does insane damage. You know, you can go whatever route you want to go in this build when it comes to aspects. Your fragments can be whatever you want, to be honest. The only thing you need is Faster of Purpose, and then everything else is up to you. I went with Faster to Run for that plus 10 weapon stat, Faster Protection for survivability, Faster to Radiant, Faster to Dawn for the Radiant for 20% extra damage for the weapon, which you don't really need because every time you get a kill, you're gonna be getting Radiant because of getting multiple kills with the artifact. And then we got Faster to Hope on, so we get Ascension back quicker. But again, yeah, you can free ball this build. You can free ball this build. You can go with Void as well. Like I said, that's what I love about the build. It's very flexible. Run whatever you want. The only stat you need in this build is 200 weapon stat. Everything else up to you. You just need 200 weapon stat. That's it. Mods. We're rocking 2 special ammo finders so we can get special ammo to drop. Very consistent for this build. So you can always be running Return Memory 24/7. We got on Solar and Strand dual siphon, so we make auras for 5 strand kills and solar kills. RMPs, we're rocking 2 melee fonts just so that we have more melee uptime in this build. Chest piece, we're rocking 2 solar ammo generation mods so that we get plus 20 ammo generation stat for our Return Memory. We got 2 on, so that's plus 40. So that'll give us 80 ammo generation stat on our Return Memory instead of 40. I don't know why Void ammo generation stat would be on. This would be resist, but whatever resist mod you want to have on, that's crazy. I did that. The footage in the top right corner, I thought that resist on. We had generation on for some reason, so we wasn't even taking less damage. We still did it easily without dying. So yeah, that just goes to show how strong this build is. Lead piece, we're rocking 2 solar weapon surges and then 1 solar scavenger. So when we pick up that special ammo brick, we get a lot of special ammo back. And that goes in tangent with the weapon stat. So we're getting a lot of ammo on this build. You can run a whole mission just shooting this special weapon and never run out. Okay. And then the class item. I had a class fight on because I wanted my class ability back quicker, but you can definitely run Reaper so that you get a kill, you make some more orbs, and then we got Bomber on, and then we got Time Dilation so that the solar surges and stuff stay on even longer. That's the build, guys. I had a ball. It's a glass cannon build, so you gotta be very pro at using this build because any wrong move you can die. Do I recommend this in Mythic? No, personally. I think it's too much of a risk in Mythic, trying to make your health get red and then trying to keep the combo going. Do it slay them very quick in Mythic? Yes. But yeah, I just don't recommend it. I would say use a different build that's way more consistent and more survivability. This one, yeah. you're risking it. You're risking it, buddy. I don't recommend it. It's a glass cannon build for a reason. Anyway, love you guys. Appreciate you guys always. And until next time, stay up.